Looks like it's going. Wait for some more people to jump on. It's not quite 1700 yet. How's everybody doing today? 2021 treating you good? I mean, it's only been 4 days, right? How bad can things be in 4 days? All right, 1700. We'll get started. Hey guys, my name is Joe, LMT. This is my first time ever doing a live stream, ever, like not personal, anything like that for work. Usually when I do videos and stuff like that, we have a camera and I get about 1,000,000 times to do the retake and, edit what we're doing. So this is my first time ever doing a live stream, but I've watched enough good channels to kind of get an idea of how it should go. So I'm just going to wing it and you guys are going to get what you get. So today we're going to go over a couple things. And this is kind of an experiment on LMT's part to expand our marketing, focusing on the commercial customers. There will be some LE international folks and some military folks that do watch our marketing, and they'll chime in or use it for reference. So there will be some people, but this is an outreach to the commercial market. Let you guys know that we do hear you, and we do pay attention to what you guys have to say. So feel free to leave a comment over here. Because I believe that it's recorded and it'll stay up on our feed so you guys can rewatch it later on. But if you have questions, we'll get in. We'll talk a little bit about bulk carrier groups today. But if you have general questions at the end, I'll open it up and let you guys, rattle off some general questions that you have for LMT, where we're going, where we've been, stuff like that. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask during this thing, and I'll try to get to them if I see them. So far, can everybody hear me okay? Is there any issues with the feed? All chrome enhanced BCG. We've talked about it. Is the video not glitchy or crappy or nothing? We're running on the Wi-Fi in here. So Chrome BCG, we have talked about it. In fact, some of you may have seen at one point, I did run a sale on these. Video is low res. I am sorry about that. I'm not sure what to do. We've got good Wi-Fi bars. That's all I can really do. Hopefully it'll come in and out or whatever. But we did do a run. This is a semi-auto carrier of standard semi-auto carriers in Chrome for a customer that had requested them. And that's where a lot of this stuff that LMT does that you guys end up with, it's usually from a request for, from a contract. And I know a lot of people get upset. They say, oh, we want that too. We want to be included in that and have that feeling. So here's the difference. And any business, any gun company, you know, anybody that manufactures things and then sells those things, this is how it works. To do this, there's a cost involved. You know, when it comes to coding and stuff, usually your costs or your volume is going to be about 200 to 500 units initially. You know, it could be as many as 5,000. But when that's out there, we really have to see that and feel it. And it, you know, having the one or two guys that say, yeah, I gotta have that, doesn't really build the confidence for the manufacturer or whatever to go ahead and invest in that. So that's really the issue where you don't see that. Now, on the enhanced bolt carrier group, so the chrome doesn't really add a whole lot of lubricity. It adds a little bit, but like the only parts that's really touching the upper are these rails right here. Okay, so these rails are the only thing that really touch the upper. So chrome in that, especially on something like this, you can kind of see it wears away the finish, and it will wear away chrome too. Chrome is only 1 or 2 tenths. Now, if we're talking about like decimal points and stuff like that, there's to get to tenths, you need 4 decimal places. So that's a tenth of a thousandth of an inch. 2 tenths is what chrome adds. So it's not thick. A lot of people think that it's super impervious to resistance and stuff. It's really not. It doesn't add a whole lot. And we don't really have to machine for chrome. There are some coatings that are so thick, you have to under machine to account for that material finish. So on the enhanced, you've got such small surface area that adding that chrome isn't going to do much, because the only other thing that we have to look for here on the chrome is ease of cleaning. So these 2 spots, or technically it's 8 spots, 2, 4, 6, 8. They're not really going to be that hard to clean. Now the insides of them in here where the bolt goes, that's always chromed. So, and that is easier to clean. So all you're really doing is chrome in the body, which will see some carbon buildup from suppressor shooting, but it's superficial. You should be able to clean that, wipe it off. Let's see, I got some questions. All right. Where can I get an EBCG? Yeah, we'll get to that. Is it true that the enhanced bolt carrier is designed specifically for the 14.5 barrel carbine? And also, will it work with a 16-inch mid-length? This is one of our most common questions. So, best answer, and you're going to hate this, is your mileage may vary. There's a lot of different barrels out there with different size gas ports. And what this bolt carrier group does isn't really, it doesn't really reduce gas. It makes the system more efficient. So you've got some holes that you normally don't have on the face of the carrier here. But if you notice, let me see if I can. The only time those are used is after the gas gets the bolt expanded. Then you've got the cam track, the elongated cam track. So 14.5 M4 carbines was really why this was built. Carbine gas, 14.5 barrel, shooting high pressure ammo, like 62 grain, 55 grain, 193A, 55. What's your official title with LMT, Joe? I am the commercial sales and marketing manager. So, but that being said, I do a lot of LE and international work. I manage the LE team, so I help those guys with their bids and the demos and, you know, the programs and stuff like that. On the international side, I help more along with the product side. I don't really do any of the sales or anything like that. I just help them with their product understanding when they're picking product for customers. But getting back to it, yeah. So the chrome, it's not really needed. The 14.5. So when you put this into a shorter barrel or a longer barrel, really what it comes down to is, are you exceeding the efficiency of that gas? It's not really bleeding off more. You just might be exceeding the efficiency that round is putting out. So if, 14.5, yeah, it'll work with a 14.5. Yeah, it'll work with 16. I've actually used these with 20-inch rifle length barrels. But that's shooting high pressure ammo. You really need that ammo. If you're going to shoot a 223 ammo or something like that, you don't really need it. Basically the purpose of this is to allow the brass cartridge to really constrict and cool down, and have time to extract. The main reason this was built was to enhance the performance of the cycling operation, not to reduce felt recoil. I see a lot of guys that are out there building their Gucci guns, and it's a term that I use very frequently when I'm working with a lot of the customers on the Facebook pages and stuff like that. And they're looking for that perfect, so this is me shoot, that perfect 430 ejection. That's great. That ejection pattern is great for flat range shooting. If you're on a perfect gravel range somewhere in the Washington, Oregon hills or something like that, it's all gravel and you got some static targets and you're blasting them, that's cool. That's great. But as soon as you get that thing packed with snow, ice, mud, dirt, something like that, you're going to take that efficiency, that carrier velocity, and you're going to reduce its ability to work. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're building your guns. And I encourage you, use LMT parts in your builds. I love seeing the LMT builds out there, the custom guns, using, BCMs or Hodge or Noveski or whatever. It doesn't matter. Build your custom gun, but understand what you're building. If your ejection pattern is at 3 o'clock, that's where we like to see it, because we know that when it gets dirty, it's still going to run. When you're shooting lower performing ammo, it's still going to run. So that's 14.5, 16-inch barrels, yes. 10-inch barrels, yes. But again, your mileage may vary. Make sure you run a can or something like that, and your ammo selection is going to have a lot to do with that. So let's check another question here. Is there a reason to use the enhanced bullet in the piston carriers? Okay, so the bolt on the enhanced bolt carrier group, the bolt doesn't add any performance. You're not going to throw it in and be like, oh yeah, my gun runs great now. It didn't run great before. All it's going to do is add strength. So yes, using it on piston is a good idea. But make sure when you do that, take the gas rings off. We don't make here's a specific piston bolt. And this one is, I believe this is out of a Estonia contract rifle. We make a specific bolt with no gas ring slot. Because on the piston guns, we don't use gas rings. So if you switch any standard bolt over to a piston carrier, take those gas rings off, and then that bolt will kind of flop around loose in there. Normally you can stand the carrier up and it won't compress, and that's how the gas rings are doing their job. The piston's not that way. So yeah, go ahead and use it in your piston guns. I know a lot of guys that do, and no issues. It's good to go. Just take those gas rings off. When did you start the Mars Heavy and Mars Light lowers? I have one Illinois markings. They are very low serial numbers. So Mars H started later. The Mars L, the 5.56, that was adopted with the beginnings of our New Zealand contract. So 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, that's when we really started heavy with the Mars L. Mars H came a couple years after that. So you're looking at 2017, 2018 time period for those. So getting back to bolt carrier groups. I know everybody, I see it. I read nearly every Facebook comment, Instagram, whatever, about these things and why they're so hard to get. A lot of it comes down to the carrier. Not hard to do. The carrier is the same as all the other carriers. We just add stuff to it or a little bit more machining. It's these bad boys right here. So this material, can't tell you what it is. I'm not going to. But if you want to do some research, you can find out. Same stuff that, when a fire jet lands on an aircraft carrier and that tail hook grabs that big cable, it's the same material. So it's really hard to break. That stuff, I imagine that those things break every once in a while, but they're designed to immediate, really high tension stuff, same material. So the problem is that there are very few, there's a lot of places to buy material when you're in a manufacturing scenario. And I'm sure there's people on here who have worked for a gun company or some sort of manufacturing company. There's local vendors and there's vendors out, regionally or, nationally. And they'll supply you with aluminum or steel and 6061, 7075, Carpenter 158, 8620. There's all sorts of stuff. And then there's different variations of that. When you buy something like this, though, there's very few vendors for it. And when they do make it, they only make it twice a year. But they only make this much. So LMT's got to buy this much. So when we start seeing the demand spike like we did before 2018, no one was really buying these. I came on in 2018, and I helped push LMT back into the commercial market. And this is a really cool bolt. I didn't know anything about it. I shot 4 years at Armalite for doing 3-gun and stuff like that. Didn't know anything about it. That's how the marketing was at the time. Obviously, you've seen the explosion in the popularity for these. Because of that, we're trying to forecast. We have to get that forecast over to the production, company that gives us the bar stock for those. So we'll get to that, and we can then start placing orders in larger volume. So that's where you're seeing. It'll be a little bit until we catch up to your guys' demand, and at one point it'll go like this: meet the demand, and then we'll go up there with stock, and you'll see them. They might go on sale at that point, but that's going to be a while. We are behind. There's no joshing about that. We are behind, and we will be for a while because you guys love these things so much. So we're really trying really hard. We were able to last year start paying attention, not necessarily paying attention, but understanding what that lot purchase needs to be. So that's where we're getting to that, and getting it so you guys can buy more. Then once all that's done, it's getting these into a machine. So the bigger problem with that comes from something like this. So this is, again, that Estonia rifle. This year is going to be one of our biggest years for production. That being said, the commercial pull for our production capacity, or in the grand scheme of things, about 5%. A lot of people say, oh, LMT is not putting out a whole lot. We are. You just don't see it because it's not in your product category. We sent a lot of stuff internationally. We sent a lot of stuff to U.S. government agencies, law enforcement, that sort of stuff. But it comes down to items that you guys don't buy, like grenade launchers. You'd probably be blown out of the water if you knew how many grenade launchers a year we produce. And not just for us, we produce other people's stuff too. So there's a lot of that goes into the demand for this. We'd love to make more, but we also have very stringent demand and criteria for other contracts that we have to keep up with. So that's one of those things. And we apologize for it. We're trying really hard to up that production capacity. We've November, December, we brought on four more machines. We've got a couple more coming on in the next month or two, I believe. So, we're in a brand new building. This room that you're in right here. All right, don't look. This is the sales vault. This is where we build contract tender guns, sample ones, and that sort of stuff. So, we'll get on. Let's see here. LMT submission to the subcompact weapon program. No, can't. Sorry. Well, maybe in the future, though. As an Illinoisan, I was really sad to see you guys leave. Good job for getting a lower. Iowa, I'm not going to make the political song and dance. Getting out of Illinois was a necessity, not just politically. We had outgrown our bounds. Iowa had much better incentives for business, growth and stuff like that. And here's the other thing. Nobody had to move. There's a lot of companies like I just saw, who was it, Kimber? Might have been Kimber. Moving 4 states away. They got 364 jobs openings. If they were taking their entire workforce or a good portion of it, they wouldn't have that many openings. It's unfortunate when you see companies do that, but there's a need for it. There's a reason for it. So when we moved, nobody lost a job. As a crow flies, we're only about 20 miles away. But Iowa to Illinois, there's that Mississippi River right there. The beauty is we were right on that river. So the move was good for us. Is it made out of chocolate? I wish it was, because you can tell I would eat it probably. I'm not going to hide that from anybody. Just talk about using H3, H4 weight on 12-inch piston, soften the recoil. So I've used, Voltor makes a fantastic A5 system. Runs on the light, slightly longer tube, using I think it was rifle spring with that longer buffer that holds more weights. All of our pistons come with H2 buffers in them from the factory. If you want to soften them up a little bit, instantly throwing an H3 in is a good, cheap upgrade. I've never really played a lot. I've done a lot of work with the A5 system on my DI gun, but never a lot on the piston. Usually when I am working with our guns and stuff like that, I have like one custom gun that I tinker with and build. The rest of the stuff is off the shelf because that's the way we run demos. Unless the customer is specifically asking for something that has that, then we would do that. Any data on the number of rounds an EBCG can take versus standard with military standard ammo? Good question. We have yet to break one. Now, testing has concluded on it. We got to, I want to say it was just over 70,000 rounds of 193. Now, that's not A55. That's a little tougher. But there are some units in the military that are switching, that have switched to this bolt because of the use of 855 Alpha 1, which is a very nasty, very high pressure penetrator round that loves to break bolts. It wakes up in the morning just anxious to break a bolt on the range and piss off a GI. So yes, they will take a lot of rounds, more than you'll probably ever see in your gun, unless you're Lucas Botkin or something like that. And, you're out there banging away. And Lucas, if you see this, hit me up, man. We got to talk. How does the EBCG compare to the? I've never used a sand cutter, honestly. So I can't say here or there about it. Knights makes good stuff. I'm sure it works great, but I can't really comment any further than that. School American Rifle, yes. We do watch their stuff. They make good stuff. Yeah, full of information. Taking people to that next level. They build their gun, now they know how to gauge the components, which is one of the first things, not necessarily gauging the components, but understanding how they work and why they work a certain way is very important to diagnosing your failures. This is a new thing that we're teaching in the LMT armor school. Is there's one day of classroom, which is boring. We get through it. But the other portion is live fire, with live fire diagnostic, where we'll make your guns fail. And then you can go and figure out why they failed and how to fix them. But that's the big thing. School of American Rifle, that channel, that's one of the things that he does over there is help followers of that understand how the guns are supposed to work. So once you understand how they work, you know how to build better guns and keep them running longer, so you're not wasting money on components and stuff. Mars lowers are coming. They ship all the time. Here's the problem with this, though. We're behind. And orders, when they go out to dealers. Those dealers generally have them sold already, because someone says, I got to have a Mars. That's the only gun I want for my next build. I'm done with, all this other stuff. I got to have a Mars. Here's my money. And when that lower comes in to that dealer or that distributor, gone. So if you don't have a back order in, definitely hit them up. Tombstone Tactical, Primary Arms, V1 Tactical, Titan Defense, Boss Firearms. There's some of the ones out there. Allegiant Rifle Works. Hit those guys up. Place a back order. Right now, and here everybody's sitting down. It looks like you're on your computer or your phone. I hope you're not driving. We're generally about 10 months out on all products. Uppers, barrels, bolt carrier groups, lowers. That's how far are we out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you called me, that's what I would tell you. So place your back order and get it in there, so that way when they ship, you're in line for one. If you're waiting for one just to show up on your local gun shop shelf, probably not going to happen. Not anytime soon. So we'll see. When will the piston MWS come out for commercial sale? And if you were able to say, have Estonians bought the MWS with a piston? Peter Yee? Yeah, Yee. Okay, we'll go with that. If you've been paying attention, you'll know what the Estonians ordered. I don't have one. One of these guys will probably come over here. They bought a piston rifle, an MWS piston rifle. So it is a 16-inch piston, and it will be available hopefully sooner rather than later. We have to get them taken care of. But the first iteration will be an EDF reference rifle, set up the way they use it. So they're using them as DMR rifles. They're getting tremendous accuracy, and they run great. I was honestly, when we were doing the initial testing, I was kind of nervous. 308s are thumpers to begin with, even for big guys like me. And piston guns are notoriously a little bit more violent on that recoil. So I was kind of nervous about shooting it. It was a kitten for people who shoot 308s. Definitely something to check out when it is available. We are kind of hoping to have the EDF reference rifles ready to go end of last year. That got pushed back a little bit. So be looking for those mid-year release probably. So no secret, they are coming out. They're there. If you looked at any EDF pictures, there's that block sitting out front. So MWS rifles, they're available. They ship all the time. We shipped, I want to say it was about 45 MWS Defenders, M-Lock Defenders 2 weeks ago. So they went out to dealers who had back orders, and those customers most likely had back orders. Green anodized, I'll never do it again. Sorry. Never happened. I know a lot of people ask for it. Demand it, if you will. Trump would have to win the election before I did green again. Yeah, no more on that. But keep asking, though. I like seeing it. Any cool new things coming? Yeah. I'm only going to show you this much. It's right there. That's one of like 3 things that are coming. So I'm sure some super sleuther is going to like diagnose the reflection on the cabinet there and figure out what it is. But it's definitely different. Just from that top portion, you could probably tell it doesn't match up with a lot of different things. So keep an eye out for that. Canteen green again. Love it. Marking team program, proper gas ports, angled. Yeah, you guys heard me talk about that. Swapped out the standard BCG. Yep. Do you guys make the lowers for nights? It's a good question, Rich. No, we do not. There was some between Knights and LMT back in the early days. There was some collaboration. I want to say around 2009, 2010. There was some mutual collaboration. But as of today, we don't make any lowers for Knights. They don't make any lowers for us. So there you go. Rich, you've got the answer. Run to Facebook right now or ARFCOM and tell everybody you know the answer. Gosh. All right, now you're swamping me. 308 18-inch, we made them. They weren't a hot mover. So they're not really popular anymore. Factory tours, no. ITAR won't allow us. ITAR, International Trade of Arms Regulation. Basically, it comes down to you'd have to be here for work reasons or whatever to get a factory tour. We did open the factory up. It's offline for a second. Your video connection is unstable. All right. I think we're back. Weird. Last summer, we did a big open house, but we had all the machines covered up. Nobody could bring their phone in, or they could bring their phone in, but there's nothing that they could see. They couldn't see any machine. They couldn't see any of the fixturing. They couldn't see any of our processes, really. Okay. M Jolly 618. So yeah, we're about 10 months out on new orders. Old orders, we are diligently working on getting those back in. I've got some customers, some big customers that have orders from last October of 18. I'm sorry, 19 that they're waiting on still. So some of those customers are, a year, 14 months behind. So we are behind on some stuff more so than others. There are some things that are trickling out, but there are a lot of items that aren't. So I see a lot of people that say, I placed an order back in August and I still haven't got it. That is unfortunate, but there are people out there with older orders that we're working on trying to catch up to. So don't worry. We haven't forgot about anybody. We are working on it. So Panda will knock you out, bro. I don't even know what that means, Lola J. Is there a reason the piston uppers were spec'd specifically for 556 and not 556-223? So obviously there's no secret here. All the 556 can shoot 223, but are they gassed properly? So what that comes down to is the 556 barrels are gassed for military spec ammo. That's our customer. Very few of our customers, either U.S. based or internationally, are shooting 223 Remington, the lower pressure of the two. So because of that, we pick the optimal running suppressed and unsuppressed for 5.56, and that's what we get. So direct to customer, we do ship direct to customer through our website. Occasionally we'll do some serialized on there. All the green stuff was sold on there. So, follow the website. You'll see bolts. You'll see all that stuff on there. Do you chrome plate BCGs in-house? No, we do not. That's one of the big things that we don't do at LMT. We make literally everything, or we have made at one point. We don't do any coatings in-house. Besides Cerakote, we do a small Cerakote shop. But phosphate, chrome, all that stuff, that's nitride is all done out. It's just too much to juggle the coating services, and they take up a lot of room too. They're not like a machine. It's a big tanks and stuff like that. Ever considered moving to cold hammer forged barrels? No. We've experiencing tremendous accuracy with our barrels, button cut and rifle. So that's one of the things that people don't know about LMT is we do both button cut and rifle in-house. We've got just your standard puller, and then we've got a single point cutter for the 5R, like on our 308 stainless barrels. All those are made in-house. So we're actually upgrading our barrel line, adding some bits to it to do more barrels, more barrels faster. I was gonna say more barrels, more quicker. We'll go with that. More barrels, more quicker, because we know that's one of the big things, about our systems. So MRP lineup, this is the old LM8 one with our 10.5 barrel in it. This is, you can't really pick up these barrels that often. So making them ourselves and all the variety is important to do. So, getting barrels out faster for people is important to us. So that's where we're investing heavily into our barrel line. Take a swip. Mm-hmm. Right there, sugar-free, folks. So barrels, yeah. We're not going to switch to cold hammer forge. That machine that does that is gigantic and expensive. So there are a lot of great, manufacturers that do that. I don't think we're going to do it though. But we don't see the pros and cons to it. There are a lot of benefits to cold hammer forge, and it's a requirement. A lot of tenders that we won't be included in because they need a cold hammer forge barrel. But we do cryogenically treat all of our stuff. That makes stress relieving a lot easier to do and more consistent. So that's important. One of the things cold hammer forge does for you. L129A1, the sharpshooter. It's one of our best-selling guns. We'd never kill that thing. As a matter of fact, the real L129, we still ship to the UK MOD, the Ministry of Defense. We still ship those things all the time. So great gun, never going to leave our wheelhouse. Can I buy that upper from you? The LM8 one? Why would you want that one? Gas port size on 16-inch mid-length 5.56. I don't have my sheet in front of me, man. Shoot us an email. On the website, there's a contact form. We get a lot of spam from Russia and stuff like that, like most websites with contact forms. So that kind of stinks. But we try to answer those contact forms as much as possible. Hit us up. I have no problem giving you that info. When will you begin using Anderson's RF85 coating? You're probably going to stone me to say this. I don't know what that is. But if it's Anderson, like Anderson Manufacturing, moving on. I waited 6 months for a restricted LMT lower. It took longer than my RC2, but I got one. Good job, man. I appreciate you hanging out. We appreciate your patience. And hopefully here in the future, that won't be so much of a problem. Your chrome BCG looks very similar to CAC. Do they chrome BCGs? I imagine they do. I think the sand cutter's chromed, but that's just a chrome. That's just a chrome BCG. Chrome is chrome. It all looks the same. If it's done the same way, they all look the same. So, fixed stock CMP rifle. So we did produce a lot of 20-inch M4 barrels or whatever. Sometimes we have those in stock. Sometimes we don't. There was a time where we actually ran a string of CMP parts, uppers and lowers, not lowers, barrels. Sorry. Contact form. Shoot us up. Maybe we've got something in stock for you. We'll have to blow some dust off of it because most people aren't asking for that. Do we get your forgings from Anderson? We actually don't. Another one from a certain state that has palmettos. That's where we buy all of our forgings because there are only like 5 forgings, bro. No, of course we don't. But that is funny. And realistically, the forging is a forging. So I'll use upper receivers. Anchor Harvey. If you ever look at an upper receiver, has a little A with an H, looks like a split H. That's an Anchor Harvey upper receiver. You'll see a lot of companies, LMT included, using Anchor Harvey forgings. I've seen them on Palmetto State Armory and Anderson's and Deltons and you name it. That forging is exactly the same. Everybody buys the exact same forging. It's not, if it's mil spec, it's mil spec. We send off our print, and if it matches that thing, that's what we buy. It's how it's machined is what makes the difference. If you have somebody that's not paying attention to tolerances, if you have someone that's not paying attention to deburring or quality or something like that, that makes a huge difference in what the customer receives. So that's where a lot of that comes from. So the best thing is the majority of the stuff we do, the Mars MRP, you're not going to find those forgings anywhere else but from the forging house that we have selected to make that, and we help them with the dies and all that. So there's a lot that goes into that. On mil spec guns like standard M4 type stuff, you'll see that a lot more often, especially from manufacturers who do more building assembling than they do manufacturing. So keep an eye on that, and then check with School of American Rifle. Maybe they'll help you out gauging your stuff. Running a 10.5 MRP Surefire SOCOM, and I'm getting a lot of gas in my face. Any suggestions? Yes. Safety glasses. OpsCore makes that solder mask that you can wear. I'm sorry. So here's the thing. Short barrels are overgassed a little bit. Why? Because you have about this much. Here's an 11.5 unobtainium barrel. So you have about this much dwell time. On a 10.5, it's even shorter. So what you have to do is you have to open that gas port up sizably to make sure that you're capturing enough gas that it'll cycle in adverse conditions. So when you throw the can on, that's adding more back pressure, more gas to the system. So, and you have that short carbine gas tube. That means that you're going to get more gas back to the bolt carrier group sooner. That's an unfortunate problem, but that is a very common setup. Our 10.5 barrel with a SOCOM, like a Mini 2 or a Mini or an RC2, very common setup, and a lot of people shoot it. It's just, that's the nature of shooting suppressed. As awesome as it is to have that, hearing safe decibel level come down and all that, that's one of the unfortunate side effects is gas in the face. Not much that we can do for you. There are some suppressors out there. the LMT VBS that a lot of people haven't seen or shot. That thing helps reduce that gas pressure. So look for cans that help reduce gas. But the SOCOM is nice because you can move it from gun to gun. It's compact, it's light, it's small. But those are all qualities of a suppressor that add gas to the system rather than produce a less gassy gun. So if you look at the cans that are less gassy, they're usually big and heavy. So that's where you end up with that volume and all that. What suppressors are the Estonians running with their LMTs? Those are LMT suppressors as well, but they're based off of cooperation with GSL. So they're a GSL style, but they're got some small changes to them. So that's what they're running. What range ammo do you use to test on the 308? M80 ball. For testing, shooting, all that stuff, M80 ball, just a 150 grain or whatever. That's the best stuff, and it's cheap. So use that. Stay away from some steel case though. You can use it for testing, you can use it for practice and stuff like that, but try to stay away from extended use on it. That's one of those things. If you ever make a barrel specifically for the over-the-barrel VBS suppressors, we do, but you got to understand what specifically you're trying to get. Is it to match up with the upper and all that stuff? Yes and no. That can was built on a desire for performance, and the other stuff came later. So keep your eye open, though. You might see something neat come out for that, the over-the-barrel 5.56 BBS. That's your 3-prong 7.62 take UD suppressor of sorts. No, it doesn't, unfortunately, but it does help reduce flash. Make a 14.5 308 barrel. 13.5 is just too short for a pin and weld muzzle device. You're right. It is. 14.5 isn't right either, though. If you think about how long, standard 308 suppressors are, flash suppressors, a 13.9 would be closer. But 14.5 would put you over the 16 that people ideally like to have. We are working on that, though. What a 16-inch mid-length MRP if it was cut down to say 12, 12 and a half. 12, no. 12 and a half. Possibly. QD LMT suppressor anytime soon. Maybe. We'll see. Thoughts on OSS suppressor with my LMT upper? I've shot them, actually. We had some OSS in here. They work okay. They're all right. The helix and all that stuff in there helps reduce the gas and stuff. But our VBS is quieter and less gas and concussion out the other end of it. So I have shot side by side on demos and stuff like that against an OSS, and I think you'll like the VBS better. Adjustable gas blocks, nope. Piston though has 2-port, so suppressed, unsuppressed. So, Dan, what's up? Thanks for commenting, man. Jeremy, yeah, there's some people on here that I'm seeing from our LMT Facebook groups. So, one of the best ways to get info, and I'm on there more than my wife would like me to be, but that's one of your quickest bits of customer service. One of the things there is if you have a question. I'm usually on there, or there's people on there that'll help you get to that answer that you want. So by all means, come over if you're not already a member of the Facebook groups. There's LMT Defense Owners and LMT Defense Owners groups. I can't tell you why. I'd love to get all the admins in one house and just combine it, and make everybody happy. All that terrific info in one spot. That would be an ideal solution instead of having two groups that are confusing. But neither here nor there. If you're an admin on any of those groups, hit me up. I'd love to talk to you about it. So besides that, though, there's a lot of people on there that'll give you advice on a build or understand how a product works. A lot of times you'll catch me on there swatting down people asking for green uppers, or talking about their enhanced carrier and how it doesn't work with their perfect build and all that stuff, and telling people to ignore the 4 o'clock ejection pattern desire. So get on there. If I'm not there, there's a lot of other people that are on there that help out. You know who you are. I appreciate everything you do. But if you have a problem like an LMT concern or something like that, or like, oh, it's got a scratch, hit me up first. Shoot me an email, something like that. Call the shop. If you have a question about how something looks or whatever, please reach to LMT first. We've never turned our back to a customer. There's some customers that probably didn't like the answer that they got, less desirable, but 99% of the time, we are 100% able to fix the customer's issue or get them in a happy place. So this is where, if I was making a video, I would insert that the clip from Anchorman. 60% of the time, it works every time. Live stream, it's just not there, guys. I don't understand what you want me to do with this. It's just not as funny. So we'll get it there, though. All right. You're welcome, CT. Always for you, buddy. Estonian type suppressor. Nope, unfortunately, you can't buy that one. Any tips on upgrading a bolt catch and mag release on the right side of the gun? They are rather small. It's the right side, right? Injection port side, yep. Right side. Mag release. I think we're good. Bolt release. This is actually better than what you get over here. And you can see how that paddle is smaller. This paddle is about the same size. So, no, you're not going to see an upgrade for this because we're the only ones that make it. However, I am working with a very popular duck company. If you're in the pond, you know what I'm talking about. There may be something coming in the future. I just got to get a little bit of work done first for it. But there might be an upgrade for this in the future, an aftermarket one. But mag release, there's a dozen companies that make stuff like that. We like the simple stock ones, the mil spec. So. Oh, I bet you guys would love to spend an afternoon in this room and see what's in here. Probably pee yourself, though. I don't have masks to give you or nothing like that. So, sorry. Oh, come on. Oh, left side. Okay, that's what you meant. Okay. So, bolt catch, there are upgrades you can buy for this. However, you'll have to do some creative notching. A certain duck company might be able to help us out with that one. And this one depends. But this one, it's got to fit inside there. So there isn't really a chance. Now, the problem with this is when we originally designed this thing, it didn't have a gate on it. And what they were noticing is when they were carrying it against their gear, they'd actually bump that just enough that the mag would come out, but not leave the mag well. And it was creating issues. So we had to put that gate on there, just like is on this side. So that prevents that. All right. Control Designs. You guys know. You're in the pond. All right. Chris Bartacci. Yes. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't see him on here. He doesn't follow. I don't think he follows our Facebook and stuff like that. Chris Bartacci and I go back a long ways. I actually worked with him a little bit at Armalite. But he did a lot of work with Carl back in the day, and still does some consulting for us every now and again. So Chris and I talk every once in a while. So yeah, he's a great guy, puts out a lot of good information. Check out his channel. I don't have like a link to point to, a little box to pop up for small arm solutions, but he's on YouTube. You'll find him. What you go to, SBR length and type. Mine, if you're asking me personally, it's 11.5 DI. I'm not a fan of piston. More moving parts, more things to break. And the 11.5 is good short barrel with enough dwell time for junk ammo and stuff like that. So 11.5 DI. That's and we actually talked a little bit with Mike over at Grand Thumb, and he helped just kind of put the nail in the coffin for us when we were designing the MLC pistol -556. That's our little Mars pistol gun. I just bounced some ideas off him. I said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking." He goes, "Yep, fully support it. That's what I would build too if I were building a gun." So 11.5 in the carbine is the way to go for keeping things small. But if you're looking for some intermediate lengths, stay tuned. Probably in the next couple of months, you might see something new. Going shopping would be great. Oh, in here, you don't want anything in here. It's all broken. Or have like 5,000 rounds. Why can't I get a LMT enhanced BCG? Devin, you must be late to the show. With place a back order. I shipped a bunch of them 1 week ago. Same time we were shipping out all those bolts that we had that special run on because of that old extractor. I shipped out bolt carrier group at the same time and regular bolts. So it wasn't like it was just that. We had a bunch of stuff leave. So place a back order with your nearest dealer, and they will get you taken care of. Bolt catches, mag catches. Yes, we do, as a matter of fact. There have been some instances with some of our bolt catches where it was easier to make a mold and have them sent out and done to our print, but they're not. We don't purchase a standard one, so majority of the stuff is made in house. But we do some other stuff outside just for efficiency's sake, because if we made everything at all times here in the house, you'd never get anything because we'd be so busy. We're not a huge company. We're bigger than most people think we are who understand manufacturing, but we're smaller than most people are who have an idea of what the gun industry is. So keep that in mind. We don't, I don't have like a little cart that I get on to go down to shipping and stuff. I have to walk, and it's not that far. BNT Rotex V. No, I don't. Sorry. Does Brownell still get the parts from you? I have a back order for an EBCG from last January 7th. No, keep your orders in. Don't cancel and go somewhere else. Keep your orders in. You're safe in your safe place. Stay there. So that's the biggest thing, guys. Have faith that we are working. And that's one of the reasons for doing this, is to bring back that faith that the commercial market still means a lot to LMT. As much as the military market and stuff like that. We make the same products for you guys. We're not, making a lesser quality. You guys are getting the same quality. And, it's just, we've got contracts that are signed, like contracts and things like that. We have to stick to that because it's a contract. That's where that comes from. So unfortunately, there are some companies out there that don't have that ability or that problem. And I hope that every good AR manufacturer gets to that point. I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but that's one of the issues when you're working with a company like ours. We're not commercially focused. We are working on getting there, but we would need to build another building about the same size. So that's one of the bigger issues. So if I can leave you with anything today, we appreciate your business, and we want to continue satisfying your customers. Our quality policy is to meet and exceed the customer's expectations. That's what we try to do, and that's what we're going to do. So, by all means, hang out with us and give us a call. We don't lie to anybody. We'll tell you it's 10 months out, it's this far out. If you say, hey, I've got an order with so and so, where is it? When is it leaving? I can't see your order because they don't send us your name and say this is where he is in our orders. We don't know. We just know that we're sending XYZ company 50 bolt carrier groups, or XYZ company 10 11.5 barrels. So we can't answer those specific questions for you. Another question we can't ask you or answer for you is PWA. We don't know what your serial number came out. That company's like 30 years old, man. We don't have any access to PWA information. We did at one point, I believe at some point, Carl released all that back to the ATF. We haven't done PWA stuff in decades. So if you call in, I can't help you with PWA, unfortunately. All right, let's do 2 more and we're gone. We're done. Okay. Fallout Ranger. We can't do or won't do full auto carriers in our commercial guns. That's been a thing that people have asked for and we wanted to do. But it's a thing just to, not state laws, not regulation, nothing like that. We're just trying to CYA. That's obviously a machine gun part. That's what it's there for. It's designed for. Ownership is very frank and open about it when they're asked it, like SHOT Show and stuff like that by dealers. Hey, can you do this? No, we don't. Semi-auto guns get semi-auto carriers. Full auto guns get full auto carriers. Unless you're law enforcement or you live in a different country, then we can work with you a little bit. And you pay extra, not just for the cost of the carrier and upgrade of the price. You actually pay more to have a custom built, a custom bill of material if you call bombs in the industry. So you can. Otherwise, best thing to do is just build your gun. Buy a bolt carrier group off our website or from your dealer or something like that. Another question about green. One of the first questions I answered was about the SCW submission. No, I can't talk about it. Knife Curse. It's not going to be weekly, monthly, once a month. I don't have time for this. Tan 308 buffer 2. What's your least favorite color? I hate blue guns. You ever seen a Cerakote blue gun? So in my experience and what we do here, we do stuff like, boom, that's an M2 training bolt. It's meant for like the sim rounds or whatever, the paint marking rounds. Blue to me always says training. I've seen blue guns, like people Cerakote blue guns and stuff. They're cool. I've seen some Cobalt Kinetics ones that are anodized and stuff like that. They look cool. I promise you, I'm not hating on the color and the design. And I used to do some custom Cerakote stuff and made some really cool theme guns. I love seeing radical stuff, but it scares me when I see blue guns because blue signifies training. And if you're ever around a scenario where blue guns are used in training, that could be a recipe for disaster. So I don't like blue on guns. All right. that's about it for tonight. We covered a lot of different things. The enhanced bolt carrier group, some of the reasons why it's hard to get, and some of the things that make it good. It's definitely a bolt carrier group that I encourage everyone to have in their rifle, as long as it works well with it. You know, ask your buddies who have one or something like that what their experiences are before investing in it, though, because if you call me up and say, hey, it doesn't run because of this or something like that, and I'll say, well, it's not supposed to. It doesn't change the way it runs. So if you are doing something different, you know, your mileage may vary. That's a very possible thing. So well, that was the topic tonight. You will see more. We are knocking them out faster than we have been in the past because we got a bigger supply of these bolts in. So keep an eye out for them. Keep your back orders in. If you don't have a back order in, place a back order. I listed some dealers earlier. Quick Google search will find you some more. So beep boop your way over to Google and do that. You won't regret it. So I think that's it. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us. If you're rewatching this, I appreciate you rewatching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, do all the things on our other videos. Let us know kind of what videos you want to see. Let us know what videos you want us to talk about next month. You know, maybe we'll have some new product out by then or something like that. More stuff you can yell at me on Facebook about because you can't find it anymore. So thanks again, guys, for coming. Guys, gals, gender neutral people. Love y'all. See you next time. Thank you.